So even though people, believers, church members, maybe they have Bible school degrees or whatever, or they've done some Bible studies, they still need development. And the team setting is one of the nicest and best ways to develop people. It's just that not everyone who assigns for a team or says, yes, I'm willing to help, expects or that it's part for the doing is a part of their development. That they come on a team for their personal development as well. And that's why having two different team meetings, when I ask people if they're willing to help and they say yes, then I already explained we have two different kind of team meetings. So they are aware that I do development or discipleship meetings as well. But I always say that is for us to grow together. Right? Because we speak in a team setting. Sorry. So, I forgot to mention with number 3, the mistake. I even gave you the wrong mistake, so sorry about that. The mistake that we often that I did, is that after the business meeting with the agenda, I assumed they would have immediate success after that meeting. So we have the business meeting, team meeting B, with the agenda, and we discuss their department and find out some ways of how to do it. So people get a new task assigned to them. Our mistake was that they would have immediate success. Because if you think, oh, we agreed on this, you are going to do this, and your due date is there, go ahead and do it. But then you forget that they need development. Then you forget that they need a leader who keeps track on them. Are you able to make it happen? So that's the mistake. We thought they would have immediate success. And often that's just simply not the case. So that's why you need a team meeting A and a team meeting B. What I also like is about that team meeting A, which is more the development meeting or the brainstorm meeting, is that I know that with my team here, let's say this is the team, I know that everyone needs some development to make the task done well. So what a lot of people do is the development or the coaching that you do one-on-ones. Instead of turning a meeting into a development meeting, in a brainstorm meeting, where we can grow and learn together. Because the thing that he might have a problem with, you might have the same problem. Or the thing that you didn't see, maybe she didn't see as well. Like I found out from my team, I gave you that example, I found out from my team that out of 5 people, 4 of them had a problem with their planning and agenda. Which I didn't know. 4 out of 5. Which made me realize that God gave me, years back, He gave me a job where He said, I want you to take the job because you need to learn this, and strategic planning. And so I realized back then, oh, wait a second, God transitioned me from a job to another job because I had to develop more into strategic planning, and I am assuming that they know how to do it. Can you see it? And I just totally skipped that thing, even though God gave me a new job to develop it for myself. So when I found out that the need was agenda management, and I realized that God had given me a new job for myself to develop, I was thinking like, how in the world was that not on my radar? But the best thing is just to ask the team, what do you need to develop? What is your biggest hindrance? And not assuming that they will be successful immediately after the business meeting. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. Let's go to number 4, which I like very much. Number 4 is what we call deliberation. Or we can say it's discussion time. And a good question that we can ask is, how are we going to get there? How are we going to get there? So what does it look like? We give a counsel and advice to one another. We talk things through. We talk things through. Think about Jesus. Think about what he established in 3.5 years. But how did he do it? Well, one of the things that he did, he spent 24 hours almost, 7 days a week, being with them, talking things through. Not everything that they have been talking or what Jesus has done has been recorded in the Gospels. If you look at simply how much time he spent with his team, do you have an understanding of how much they were talking things through, what they just have witnessed, what Jesus did, him explaining the kingdom even more, explaining God even more? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of talks in between that's not recorded. And the best way how to do this is to ask questions. Ask questions or ask for proposals. And after lunch break, I will have a question for you. We'll make it more interactive. I'll show you not the method, but a method of how you can do this. But just think about this. So your job is direction setting. Be as clear as you can, where are we going? Right? Your job is to make sure that you understand these D's, that you can follow them, and that you can train them, and that you can develop them, right? But one part of it is creating discussion with your team. And the reason why is this. If I would sit down with my team again, and I would ask you, what is ministry? And I would ask you, what is ministry? I'll get a different answer. But I have my view on ministry as well. Right? So, why do we need to discuss things through? Because there is something that you have to add on to the word ministry that I don't know or I don't see, or that I don't find as important. But because you mention it, now it's important. You will say something that is very important that I think, oh, wait a second, that's how you look at it. And I get a better understanding of what is going on inside of you when I take the time to discuss it. Can you see this? Because why do we do this? Why? Because we want to see agreement. Simply because decisions have to be made, we need to talk some things through and hear from the team from different angles. What does that mean? How do you think about this? And I've seen leaders skip the discussion part because they don't want to take time for it. And then what happens is this, is that it has to be how the leader thinks, and the others have just to do it. Can you see what I'm saying here? Now you create followers, not leaders. Not taking time to listen to your team means that, it has to go through your perception of the leader, and the opinion that the people have don't matter. So it's the leader's highway, and whatever you guys are thinking about is not important. Now you create followers, not leaders. Can you see this? I also have seen leaders who don't want to ask the team and do discussion with the team. Usually it comes out of their own insecurity. Because I think one of the main things as a leader, what I look for in a leader, let me put it that way, a potential leader or a new leader. I always look for a leader, is that person curious? Is he or she wondering about stuff? About people? About the kingdom of God? Are you still curious? Because curious means like you have a hunger, you have a drive, you want to learn more. And I've seen so many leaders, they're not curious towards their church people or towards their team. What you create then is that it's only your perception on, for instance, ministry, and the other guys can only say yes. Can you see this? And it's actually even worse than creating followers, it's creating slaves. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that's part of the kingdom. Right? Because if you create slaves, it means you're a dictator. I want to be a director. I want to envision. I don't want to be a dictator. So, take that word. Dictator means you're dictating people. Then you're not curious about how people think about stuff. That you're not talking things through. And then people may say, yes, I'll do it, but they're not in agreement with you. That's bad. That's slavery. Slavery says, I have to, but I don't agree with you. Right? So yeah, sometimes we need to take time. Yes, I know some business meetings, like John Grunewald's business meetings, are 1 hour and that's it. That's it. Right? But sometimes we need to discuss some things through to make sure we get this. I like that. I like that part. So, the mistake we often made was this. The mistake we often made was this. We actually made a decision first and then asked for input. We actually made the decision first and then asked for input. That's a mistake. As a leader, yes, you have your thoughts on how you want to do this, but you need your team to give a real opportunity to speak out. But if you already made your decision, they will know you already made a decision, and then you ask for input. They go like, yeah, whatever I'm going to say, I think differently, but it's not going to work because you already made your decision. So even though you as a leader have your way of thinking, what you think is the best, and that's very important, don't make the decision yet. Do this. Do the deliberation, the discussion with your team, and you will see that you come up with a better decision at the end than your original was. And it really works that way. Because sometimes we as leaders, we think we are the most brilliant people on this planet. Because I'm the team leader and you guys are the team, so I'm the smart one and you're the dummies. Well, that is bad thinking. That's a bad attitude, right? We should be honoring God for putting us in leadership positions and that He is entrusting people to us, right? That doesn't make you the smart or the most brilliant people on the planet. That just makes you responsible. I rather surround myself with people who are smarter than I am. So because they're smarter, I have to be curious about what they're thinking. And then together we can make a decision. Okay, see this. Okay, so we can do that when? Well, you can do that in team meeting B. Because there are effective ways on how you can discuss this. It's not every agenda point needs half an hour of discussion. It's simply that every agenda point needs some discussion. So, after we talk things through, we have agreement, then it's time for the decision making. What is the question that we have here? Well, that is the common question of who will do what and when. So no surprise that this one is team meeting B as well. This is your business meeting because we have agenda points, right? So what do? What? Agenda points. And those agenda points, we turn them into action items. So where do we do the decision making? In the business meeting. This is the question. Who will do what and when? What are we using? Agenda points. Agenda points, we turn them into action items. Right? How do we do that decision making? Simply, we approve or we disapprove. We approve or we disapprove. That's your job as a leader. Yes, we can do this. No, we can't. But don't you think there should be a little bit more than that? Was that it? What? Exactly. Exactly. Approve or disapprove, you need to explain why. You have to come up with clear answers or arguments why something can or cannot be done. Again, if you don't do it, if you just say yes or no, or we can, we can't, and that's it, next point, you're still a dictator. You're not a director. A director takes a team and people along on the journey. Right? So, yes, you need to be able to explain why something can be or cannot be approved. Explain why. If you don't know the why, what happens? You need to explain it. If you don't know the why, if you don't know all the facts, if you don't know, you cannot make a decision. It's simple as that. Then you have to make sure you get all the facts, or why can we or can't we? Right? That's why we need this deliberation time here, because we need agreement, and from there decision making. Then explaining the why is much easier. So why do we do it like this? Because we either delegate something or we eliminate. We delegate or we eliminate. If it can be done, or it's something that's just not working right, in the bin. If it can be done, or something is just not working right, throw it away. Because there's so much more that you need to make happen. You can just throw it away. Sometimes we don't as leaders. We want to keep everything on our shelf and everything in place. No, if it can be done, if it doesn't work right, throw it away. The mistake that we often made was that we were not really clear on approval or disapproval. We were not explaining the why. Or we didn't eliminate the things, like what I just said. We threw it in a bin. So if you don't throw it in the bin, if you don't throw it away, it's on your mind. It's still ruling you. Even though it can be done, even though it's not working, it's still affecting you. You don't have to have that. And another mistake that I see often is the when. There are no clear due dates. Because as Christians, we don't like that. As Christians, we like to be led by the Spirit, and there's no due date. Right? But we need to set due dates. We do need them. That's part of the action item. Who will do what and when? Well, with the when comes a due date. Okay? And it's not a due date that's set by law or anything, like if they don't get it done by the due date, they get punishment or anything. Doesn't work like that. But people do need a due date. They do need it. Even though they don't like it, they do need it. You ever discovered that with God? He is not always supplying whatever you want, but it's more about whatever you need. Well, people need a due date. Okay, so that's just helpful to know. Okay. There we go, number 6. I know it's a little overwhelming, it's a lot of words. Again, it's simple, it is, you can just take this home, look at everything you've written down, and just see for yourself, how am I doing? That's just what it is. It's just a checklist to help you have an understanding, am I doing my job well? Okay? So it's a little overwhelming right now, I get it, but it works. Number 6 is determination. And determination, the question here is, what needs improvement? Don't they have bigger whiteboards here? Like I can flip it back, I don't have to flip it back. But if you look at your notes, number 3, the development or the discipleship is about improvement of people. This one is the improvement of what are we doing. That's the difference. Okay, there we go again. What we need to do here is prioritize. How are we going to prioritize when we know the facts, not the feelings? So determination, what needs improvement? What are we going to do in this section? We prioritize. How can we prioritize when we know the facts, not the feelings? Some people at our church said, we sing way too many English songs. So I asked the worship team, you think the same way? We don't know. Can you give me the facts? How many English songs are we singing every Sunday from the last 6 months? Like, give me an average for every church service. So they came back and they said, because the feeling people who felt like we sing too many English songs said we sing 10 songs, 7 of them are at least English. It's way too many. We need Dutch. So the worship team did the math, got behind the computer, looked at all the things they came up with, gave me the facts, and they came up with not even 3 is the average of English songs in our services. So they went back to the feeling people and said, we did the math, it's not even 3, which means out of in every church service, at least 7 songs are Dutch. And then 3 are English. Is that too much? And then the feeling people said, oh no, that's not too much. Problem solved. Why? By not going into a discussion from feeling to feeling. Oh, we feel it's too much English songs. Oh, we feel it's not too much, too many English songs. You know what I'm saying? So, what is the truth? We don't go by feelings. We go by either faith and the facts. Or both. Not either, but both. Right? So we need the facts. Why do we need the facts? Well, simply because of this. Quality control. We need a checkup. We need quality control. And usually I do this in team meeting A, the development meeting. Okay, again, it's not rocket science. It's just giving you some understanding about it. And with all those letters of D, The better you do one, it flows into number 2. The better you do number 2, it flows into number 3. The better you do the number 3, it's organic, it works, it's a system. Okay? It flows, if you have understanding about this. Okay? The mistake here at number 6 that we often made was this. We lacked the insight for the next step. Because we didn't follow up properly. What am I saying? The quality control was poor because we didn't have the facts. And not having the facts and not doing the quality control, you don't see the next step. Isn't that your job as a leader? To see the next step? It is. In order to do that, you need the facts. If you have the facts, you can do proper quality control. If you have proper quality control, it's easier to prioritize again. And when you prioritize again with the team, and you know now what are the priorities, and you know the next steps, determination is right there. It sounds like your brain is fried, but I know that you guys are doing many of those Ds. It's just showing you like this is a system, this is a method, these are principles. Like just because of time, I haven't given you the scriptures, but this all comes from the scriptures, okay? But this is important. Just if you go over those Ds back home, right? Because today is not really important. What is really important is what are you going to do with this? Okay? How are you going to apply it to yourself? Are you going to use it as a checklist for yourself? And are you passing it on to your team and other people? Because the funny thing about all of this is this. The one who is instructing this to other people is the one who's learning the most. Think about 2 Timothy 2:2. From God to Paul, from Paul to Timothy, from Timothy to faithful man, from faithful man to everyone else. Amen? This is stuff that can go anywhere. Because why? Because in your church, you want to have leaders who can function like this, even on the lower levels. Because so often in churches, it only stays up there at the A leadership, and B, C leadership is just messing around. Can you see this? And then you can be very happy because you have some understanding, because you went to a nice seminar, and there was some coffee and food, and we met some people we haven't seen the whole year. Oh, it was so nice. Yeah, that is nice. But what are you going to do with this? How are you going to apply this for yourself? And you can put yourself on a fast-track learning curve if you start to teach this to other people. Because it simply is this, like you just received it now, right? You've heard me talk, you've seen it on the whiteboard, you've put it in your notes, right? So you've gone through this now, this morning, 3 times. You've heard it, you've seen it, you've written it down, right? But right now, I'm the instructor. So guess what I have been doing the past week, preparing for this? Guess what I did last night before I went to sleep? Guess what I did this morning after my prayer and worship, opening up the computer? I was preparing for this meeting. So who learned the most? Because speaking about it, going over the notes, you reflect on yourself as well. How am I doing this? Because I have to have an understanding about it if I'm able to present it well to you guys. So you can put yourself on a fast track of learning all of this when you have the notes, but especially when you teach other people. And it feels like riding a bike eventually. Because it's not difficult. This is doable. This is doable because it's the 6 main responsibilities of any leader. Any leader. If it's for any leader, it's not difficult. But it is able to apply it in A, B, and C leadership. Amen? Amen. Okay. So, trust you had a good time. I hope you got all the things written down. And you take it to yourself, take it to your home, take it to your church. And you've learned something.